to dawn. Are we going on, or are we going gone? Somebody said a storm is coming, but it's been a long time. I don't know what's up ahead, but please baby, don't you look behind. So tell me, is it gonna be free energy forever, or just the same damn old grind? Singing sweet land of the weary and the wild. Are we 1 year from the grave, or is this just the beginning? My sweet child, oh, you're my star-spangled fever dream. Half a savior, half a liar. 250 summers and we're going higher, singing sweet land, going gone. The neighbors might be coming with a casserole or a gun. The kids are either screaming or they're laughing in the sun. Is the timeline coming undone, or is it coming in clear? The fireworks are blinding, but I'll keep on dancing here. And nobody can promise me that we're gonna make it to the light. So is it an awakening, or is this a knife in the night? So come on, brother, sister, stand up tall, because guess what? Where we go one, we go all. If you can hear this from the other side, across this great quantum divide, don't get me wrong, now is the time to stay strong. So, with all of that, I'll say, God bless the USA! God bless the USA! Singing sweet land, going on. 250 years and it's going on and on the edge of a forever, or the edge of being gone. Is it midnight? Is it morning? Is it ruining? Is it time to rise? 250 summers gone by. So just go on and tell me those sweet lies, the kind of sweet as these July. Going on and going gone. Light up, light, higher. Sweet land's going on. Sweet land, going gone. So please, just know that we can still rebuild. We can still make something better.
Well, welcome everybody. Captain Kyle here, and welcome to the end game. And we have Lieutenant Colonel Riccardo Bosi, and we have the Superstar Kelly, which I really want to apologize, but I don't know what's happening with Telegram, but it did not take again tonight. So I got to figure out what's going on. It actually kicked the channel out of the whole studio, so I don't know what happened. So I've got to figure this out. But you can watch it on Rumble, and you can watch it on X Live right now. So, and it'll be a replay on there as well. So we'll get it downloaded and put over to Rumble to Telegram later on tonight. Kelly will take care of that. So it will be there for the people that don't have that or don't want to use those. So before we get started, we're going to pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today, and thank you for all that you do, those things seen and unseen in all of our lives. And Father, I just ask that you begin to show people and show them just those things that are important to them are important to you. And Father, that you're the one making a way for them and bringing them through these difficult times that we're all walking through in our own way. And that, Father, we understand that you're the one that's developing us for what is to come. And we thank you for it. We thank you that you're allowing us to participate in the plan that you have for humanity, for my life, my family's life, and those people that are around me every single day. Father, I thank you and I praise you for our leadership, our military, those people that are using the plan in which you have to bring us out of all of this corruption and the low energy that this world has been a trap for us all. And Father, we thank you. We praise you that your son came and showed us the way. He was the way shower. And Father, we thank you for those things in which he did to bring us the opportunity to see, to witness, to experience those things ourselves, in which he said we will do greater works than he. And that is where we're headed. Father, I thank you for it. I praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. So, Mr. Bosi, how are you doing, sir?
Absolutely outstanding. The troops are fed, the horses are watered, plenty of ammunition, and the war goes on. I only got one message to send. Let's kick off with this one. Keep the faith, folks. Keep the faith, because it's amazing how many people in these last days are now falling by the wayside. It shouldn't surprise me, but it does. The people that we thought would be strongest to the end have actually started failing. Both good people and bad, and on the bad side, being contacted by long-term colleagues, let's say from the past, who have chosen the wrong wrong path. It's just sad watching them go the wrong way. But hey, this is what growing up's all about. You take responsibility for your choices, the good and the bad. But to all the good people out there, keep the faith. We are so close, folks. I know you've heard it for many years, but we're here. We is here.
Yes, that is so true, because the closer we get to things and events taking place, the more difficult things are going to continue to get until we finally get to those things in which, the reprieve of, justice and the financial system changing and all of these things in which have oppressed humanity. They're all coming, but all of those systems have to be challenged completely. They have to be broken to the core, and they have to be exposed to the world and then brought down. And we're in the major exposure part of that right now. And that's what hurts, and that's what's ugly, and that's why everything looks like shit, is because it's being exposed the way that it is, and it looks like everything's falling apart. Well, it's supposed to, because as it falls apart, it's going to come down. And this is when we have walked through the things that we have over the years to prepare for this very time. Not when the bullets start flying and the shit starts hitting the fan do you go, oh my God, it's finally here. No, it's been here. And that part of it is where you actually truly get tested for your resolve. Because when that happens, if you're weary, you're worn out, you're basically, not sure how things are going to go, then that's whenever fear comes in. And you can't be walking in fear right now at all. And your focus needs to be on the change that is actually happening. And you can see it all around with all of the Q posting and just the amount of encouragement that we're getting from social media, from the White House and from the white hats, is absolutely off the hook. It's crazy. It's like, Elon, this video, right here that he posted multiple times, right? That is a hat tip to the Anons beyond belief with so much in it. And even like the video that he just did and put out, Kelly had then put it, I was going to put it on, but they already did it, where he called out the media and
That was
told
so
them
good.
how much they hate him. That was fucking incredible.
So good.
I don't care. They like me more than they like you and the mainstream media. And I mean, that's the thing, is that this is what they're showing you, and it's incredible. I mean, it's have you seen the memes that they've made from it? There's a couple of them, right? Have you seen them? There's a
Yeah.
couple of them.
I posted one that there's a meme maker, Polita Rican meme. He's awesome, and he made a really good one of a robot coming in and throwing her in the trash.
Yeah, one of his robots. Did you see it? Have you want to see it? We got time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
Put it on.
yeah, I
Yeah.
want to see it. And then there was another one that was posted as well by Poppy Trumpo. And so let me pull this little bad boy up. It's here in just 1 second.
Just while you're doing that, the memes have been so important in the political messaging. It's not just because they're funny, because there's truth in all of it. And it really has been a key part of the whole messaging package. It doesn't matter which demographic you are, whether it's the baby news network, whether it's just an individual with a good sense of humor. It's really massaged people's wounded souls through this process. So it's been a very, very key part to the whole war.
Oh, absolutely. So here we go. This is beautiful, people. If you don't understand what this actually means,
I think a lot more people actually like me than don't.
beautiful, 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 beautiful.
The
Love
trash.
it, love it, love it.
Absolutely brilliant.
So I'm gonna get the other one that Puppy Trumpo posted, which is also a good one. It's a little bit longer, that one, but it's still just as good.
About
Here we
a
go.
quarter book.
And so he calls them out for their fucking evil. Excuse my French, but I'm just sick of them. Tired of playing baby games with people too. Here we go.
About a 250 million people follow me is that I think a lot more people actually like me than don't. And I think a lot more people hate you and the media more than you realize.
So good. So good.
About
Oh, I just love it. So, there'll be more before long. So, um, it's just amazing that the things that are happening, it's like, see them for what they are, because everything is happening for a reason. Everything that is being shown to you is not the whole story by no means, and you're being told one thing versus what is actually truly going on in the background. And so that's the thing. So
Yeah.
this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Iran and what's going on over there, because this is what's on a lot of people's minds, because fuel is going back. They're going back to $100 a freaking barrel, blah 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 blah, right? And it ain't about fucking oil. I'm just trying to tell people it ain't about oil. It ain't about the Middle East and what's going on with the oil and stuff there. Because guess what? We don't need it. We don't need it. And actually, majority of the world don't need it either. And the thing is that they're showing people how this game has been played by the crown and the proxies of the crown. and how they've been manipulating people, manipulating economies with this terroristic regime and with these terroristic actions. We could have already gone in and just took it over, just like we did Venezuela. We could have done the exact same thing. People go, oh no, you couldn't do that because it's such a big country. I got news for you, people. I have news for you, is that we have equipment, we have soldiers that ain't a fucking thing anybody can do to stop. They used them in Venezuela, and we have technology that nobody can touch anywhere in the world. We could actually take down any country in the world in a day, and they know it. They're fully aware of it. But the fear that would cause around the world would be irreversible, because their countries would not have anything to answer for what is shown to them. And that would be a worse thing than what is happening right now. So what do you think on that, Lieutenant Colonel?
I'll just real quick, if you don't mind, Lieutenant Colonel.
Jump on in, girl.
Also, have to take into consideration that they use women and children as human shields. So this little bit, and unfortunately, I don't want to minimize it because we lost soldiers. But this little bit of retaliation, that's how they do it. They are firing from places that they're using women and children as shields.
Yeah, they've been doing that forever.
Yeah. These are not nice people. Just on relation, let's segue from Kelly's excellent contribution. During the Iran-Iraq war, which many years ago, the Iraqis were psychologically damaged, but not from the actual combat. That's bad enough. But what the Iranians did, they would send children with weapons marching forward into the Iraqi trenches. And the Iraqi soldiers, I mean, these aren't nice guys, but even they had problems shooting children that the Iranians were sending across to them. So this is the level of warfare. People have to understand that armies are not armies. They're not the same all around the planet. The West fights according to a certain code. The rest don't. They have no off switch. They have no point beyond which they won't go. So that's just, and that doesn't justify the war in Iran. Iran has done plenty. It's been telling the US that they're going to kill you for how many decades now?
Yes.
And finally, DJT said, okay, enough's enough. Enough's enough. But anyway, in relation to your point, Kelly, exactly right. These are not good people. But let's just quickly talk about a bigger picture now. In terms of oil, Captain's right. It's not about oil. It's 20% of the world's seaborne oil goes through the Straits of Hormuz. Now, naval operations, as Alfred Thayer Mahan, your great naval strategist, determined over a century ago, it's all about choke points. You control choke points. And the City of London has happily kept the Strait of Hormuz a choke point for exactly that reason, because it works. DJT has decided, you know what, we're going to negate the power of that particular choke point. The Emiratis, the Saudis, the rest, they're putting in pipelines so they never have to worry about the Strait of Hormuz ever again. So that's just on the oil part. Second part on the oil, and this came from Dr. Steve Hurley, hat tip to him. He always gives a good summary. The US is now net exporter of oil. So the gap has been filled by the US, and you guys are doing great. And don't think this is an accident. This is all part of the strategy. There's multiple levels to all of this. Blowing things up, that's always exciting to soldiers, watching things break. That's what we do. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of very clever economic policy going on, very clever diplomatic policy going on, very clever informational policy going on. So there's different levels of, let's call them levers of national power. And they're all being pulled simultaneously. The bombs are real. Are they happening right now? Not necessarily. It could have happened sooner. But understand that just because you're getting a message, it doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. So let me give you an example. During the Second World War, when the Special Operations Executive were running messages and supplies and trainers to the French resistance, say, and you've seen the movies where the plane lands in a blacked out airfield and the resistance fighters light up the fire so the plane can land, and then it takes off and disappears. They used to send messages across the BBC, and the BBC would send these messages, and it would sound like this. Helena sends her love to Gustav and thanks him for the roses. And everybody goes, oh, isn't that lovely? But these messages, these personal messages, were just codes So it meant nothing to most of the listeners, but good old Francois sitting in quarantine with his small group of resistance fighters. The bear fights at midnight. We go tonight, fellas. We're taking out the bridge. We just got the word from London. And so you're getting messages, and they're coded messages. Has Iran their military been obliterated physically? Yeah, of course it has. Is it happening this week? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But we're seeing pictures. Of course you are. But when were the pictures taken? It doesn't really matter. But the whole Iranian thing is magnificent because what you're seeing is the flash and bang, but what you're not seeing are the other elements, because you're taking out, in terms of targeting, and it's really simple. For example, if you're going to take out a capability, you take out the personnel, leadership particularly, because then people are waiting for orders, because good soldiers wait for orders and very few of them decide to act independently. So the leadership is being taken out, has been for some time. So that's the first one. Next, you take out their capacity for intelligence gathering. So they're headless, and then they're blind, deaf, and dumb. So you take out all their intelligence capabilities, both electronic and human and whatever you can do it. Sensors, you take all that out. Then you start taking out the actual capability proper. Ships, planes, anti-aircraft, you name it, all gone. And so progressively you degrade their capacity to wage war. Now, when did it happen? When was it completed? Is it still going? Doesn't really matter. The fact is, it's rolling on now. That's the big picture. The military picture, that's basically a very attractive distraction with all these other processes going on, with the pipelines, as I said, being built. The fact that the US is now a net exporter of oil and doing really well. There are many levels at play here. And so when you're watching Iran, understand the bastards deserve it. Point one, not the people, the leadership, the various factions that run the country. They deserve what they get. We're not judging them. We're just setting up the meeting with the Almighty so he can judge them, as the old saying goes. It's an old line and it's very true. Some people just deserve to be cleaned out. But what we're seeing is, finally, after decades and decades of being lied to, we're actually seeing an honest president take some honest action. Anybody complaining about Donald Trump starting another war, no, he's finishing it. The other presidents started wars, the unending wars. DJT is systematically shutting down the process. And behind that, as a safety net, is going to be the Board of Peace. And so, again, you've got to look at the whole picture, and you start to realize, well, I think the analogy is that I've used before is DJT is a businessman. He doesn't crush the opposition. He just creates a better burger joint. So if you've got a burger joint on the corner that sells garbage, he doesn't try to take down that burger joint. He's creating a better one. And all the customers are coming to him. And that's like the UN and the Board of Peace. The UN is a busted flush. It was never anything other than a mechanism for the Organization of Islamic, Islamic Cooperation ran the UN. And that's all that ever was. But he's got his Board of Peace, and the Board of Peace is going to sit there and they're going to arrange things so nobody actually ever uses war again as an illegitimate means of advancing their political objectives. So Iran's fantastically interesting, but always look around the edges, look above and below, and you'll start to see a bigger picture. That's why I kicked off this morning's talk with, hey, keep the faith, guys. Keep the faith. This is the point where you really just hang on. And is it hard? Of course it's hard. Welcome to life. That's why we play sports at school. And our participation trophy is important. Yeah, for 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds it is. But eventually you've got to learn to grow up. You play the game. You learn what it's like to win. You learn what it's like to lose. You learn what it's like to fight when there is nothing left in the tank. And you've heard the expression, leave it out on the field. Well, that's not an expression. That's reality. That's how you win. And that's where we are now. You leave everything out on the field. And eventually you grow up and you stop playing games. And you realize that all those skills you learned playing sports, competitive sports, contact sports at school, weren't to prepare you for a multi-million-dollar career as a Gatorade salesman, which is just nonsense. Eventually, adults grow up. They understand sport is just sport. Real life is where you learn to play this hard game. And that's why at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, for goodness sake, keep the faith, keep driving forward. You've got nothing in the tank. Welcome to the club. Every day is another day to make a better decision. So there you go.
It's funny because people assume that what's being presented to them is exactly what's happening right now. and that you can't necessarily believe what you see these days because it's very easy to present something that is not real to be real and present a narrative that may not be the actual narrative. So just because it's coming from some person that's supposed to be in the country and their own phone. So let me put this into perspective for you. There were, before we were even went to war with them on February 28th. Do you know how many gas leak explosions were happening all over the country of Iran? They were to the point where they were almost not even calling them gas explosions anymore. They weren't, I mean, gas leaks, because they were just not even acknowledging that they were happening. This wasn't happening because you had factions inside of the country that were Iranian that were fighting against their own regime. No. It was our guys and the special forces individuals that were embedded all through that country that were basically taking out and softening all kinds of positions and getting intel. And it's kind of like, if, let me put it like this, they were having foreplay in war before they were actually in war, because that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. Okay. And so this happened even when they had the ceasefire. You remember, all of a sudden they started having all these explosions again, and they were calling them gas leaks again. Well, they're having a little bit more foreplay for round two. And this is how it goes. And so, people, you have to understand that this war is about change, and it's about taking control over those things in which have been controlling the world. And I'm not talking just about the oil, the manipulation, and things of that nature, but there are also technologies that are there, that are a part of the ancient history of this planet, that are very key to the ascension process of this planet. There is a Stargate that is there that is very vital to the frequency grid of this planet, and it being activated and controlled by the white hats and with the sovereign beings that are here assisting with these operations. It can only be operated through consciousness and through a level of consciousness that's high enough to actually communicate with it. They were not. None of the black hats, none of the individuals that even found these artifacts, so to speak. They're more than artifacts. They're technologies that have been here for a long time. So, when they started doing all of their underground building and making these underground missile cities and all this stuff that they were doing there, well, that's whenever they actually came across and actually opened up into a whole world of things that were well outside of their preview, put it that way. And that had to be dealt with, and this is why it was dealt with. See, this is what a lot of the war in Iraq was over as well. It wasn't about what people think it was. It wasn't about the Saddam Hussein and his weapons of mass destruction. That was the bill of sale that they gave the world, but they were actually trying to get their hands. This is the black hats trying to get their hands on technologies that were there. And they raided multiple places and took technology, took artifacts that they were never supposed to have, put it that way. That was what that was really about. It sold us something completely different. But this is what the awakening is going to be about. It's about who you are, where we came from, and what you're a part of versus the story that you've been told and given throughout your entire life and through history, what you've been spun. It's going to be difficult to grasp a lot of it. My microphone's, oh, it's coming loose over there. It is what it is, but the thing is that this is why it's so important right now, and I know that you understand this, Lieutenant Colonel, is that we have to be prepared for everything that may be presented to us in any given way, knowing that it is a plan, it is being worked to a T, and those things that happen must happen in the way that they have to go down so that we can bring forth the future in a way that we all actually grow from this. Because how many people, and this is from your perspective, being in the, you were in the military 9/11, right? Yes? Okay. So when that happened, I was merchant marine, okay? So I was doing my thing with the water, doing my stuff. And when that happened, everything changed. And I mean everything changed. And it was presented to us, it was presented in a way that didn't make sense, but even then the people all came together around the world. We all realized that we had been attacked. By who, we didn't know, and we do now. But that in itself changed all of our realities in one day. And so the thing with that is, how long did that actually stick with people? And I mean really stick with them, where it changed their realities permanently. And this used to piss me off, actually. It really did. After like 2-3 years, people just kind of blew it off. They bitch and whine them at the airports and having to go through TSA and all the stuff that was created by it, which I understand that it was all a manipulation, and it was to take our liberties and our freedoms away here in the United States and be able to do more on surveillance. But the thing with that is that people have such short memories to tragedies like that. And to me, those kinds of things never go away. And I know they don't with you either. And that's the reason we do what we do today, is because these things matter. And it does not matter that I'm tired. I've been doing this for freaking 20-something freaking years. And I mean, really doing it. And in the last 10, really 11, since right at the time Trump came into office, even before then, I was doing stuff that I was worried about getting Clinton. And you can understand that. And that was a long time ago. A long time ago. And so this is the kind of thing that we have to stay focused through all of this. And I don't mean to be on my soapbox right now, but it's like there's a lot of bad fucking people out there that have to be exposed to the public, have to be shown to what it really is, and things are not as it appears. So, Lindsey Graham. We all know Lindsey Graham was a wonderful character. Not. And so, in that, he was set up. And I know he was set up by the White Hats to be taken out. And he was taken out in Ukraine by Russia. They bombed his ass at the factory. It was either at, I don't know if it was at the factory where the drone factory that he was at, because that got hit, and the hotel where he was staying was also hit. Both places. You can go look it up for yourself. Confirm it. I don't care. The deal is that they said that he made it back here and that happened after he left. But why would you actually bomb where he was at both places, the hotel included? And you missed him? But who's seen him? Nobody's seen him get back. Nobody saw him at the hospital. Nobody had a report of a 911 call like they did from what's his freaking name? McConnell, right? Having CPR and having to be taken to the hospital. But where is he laying at rest right now for the public? I mean, it's been like a minute since he's actually died. It's not usual to bury somebody a month or so later. So they're saying that his funeral is supposed to be on July the 28th or so, 29th, something like that. You know, it's funny because people all of a sudden started making up all kinds of stuff and started coming out of the woodwork as soon as this happened. From, his fairy tale side, because he was a fairy tale. He's a tutor. And the thing with that is that he voted against all those things. But then he actually played peekaboo with them. And that's the thing, right? And so everybody knew, and he wasn't hiding anything. But he also was a part of the takedown of Ukraine in 2014. And this is what people do not know. He was McCain's freaking protege. They were like, he was the buddy. And so all of No Name, because he was No Name for a long time. I didn't even like saying his name. And because he was a bad guy. And he got shown with a boot. And then he got shown with a boot on the other foot. And he got shown not being here at all. And even his daughter said that we took him out. So you don't think that the same thing didn't just happen to Lindsey Graham? Because pieces of these players are being removed from the playing board right in front of your eyes because of where we're actually at in the end of this game. And so you want to talk a little bit more about what I just brought to the table there, Lieutenant Colonel, from what you know and what you understand of what's taking place right now?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And,
figured you were jumping at the bit there.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's you're going down a good path because it's got a couple of elements to it. If people are confused and I don't know who's good, who's bad, great. That's exactly what you should be saying. It should be destabilizing. It should be upsetting to you. Why is this happening? And these are good questions to ask. But if you know another example of it, just to show you how this is a part of a global strategy. How many British prime ministers have we had in the last 5 years? There's a rotating door of these useless idiots coming through, standing there being the prime minister.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but the one that is there now is actually going to completely begin to align with the U.S. and the U.S. policies. And he's starting to do it right now with, we're doing it because of NATO, and this is the NATO right thing to do, and blah, blah, blah for the bases and stuff like that. But no, he's actually fully on board and going to align with Trump and the actual White Hat Accord. He was put there. Carney was, and all these guys that are there that are playing these roles, they're playing fucking roles, people. And this guy that's coming in is going to be the one that's going to start cleaning some of the house because it's pretty dirty. It's just like, Biden coming in, and he let the stank in the door and the gate and just decided to remove the gates and fence altogether, right? Same thing that's been happening all over Europe, there in your country as well, and so on and so forth. So go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And so if you look at what's happening in the US, you're going to see it in the UK. You see it in Australia. We have doubles playing our Prime Minister. We have recently our longest serving Foreign Minister, Alexander Downer, and I think it was 96 to 2007. He was our Foreign Minister. He's a deeply despicable individual in terms of his sexual predispositions and what he did as a government, and directly involved with the foreign interference of the election of Donald Trump. He's directly implicated in that as well. And everybody knows it. And the government said, no, he's just a rogue agent, nothing to do with us. But it's all nonsense. But anyway, he was recently photographed giving an opinion on a doctor who's being held somewhere by somebody. It doesn't really matter. That wasn't the point of the story. If you looked closely at the picture, you could see the bottom of the mask that he was wearing. It wasn't Alexander Downer. So you're seeing the same play nationally and internationally. And when you sit back and you watch it, you can see, okay, there's a message here. So whether it's Lindsey Graham, McCain, the revolving door of British prime ministership, people in masks, it's all happening simultaneously. And it's supposed to confuse you. It's supposed to get you to the point where you say, I don't understand what's going on. And now, without getting angry, you don't have to get angry about it, but start pressing your representatives for answers to questions that you might have. And they can be big issue questions. They can be small issue questions, but it's all the same. If you are overwhelmed, and you should be, it's by design. It is actually by design. The White Hats don't need anybody to start squeezing triggers. They don't need mass riots. But what would be very helpful is if people started turning around, finally, I don't know what it takes, but to press your alleged representatives to start taking some action, put pressure on them, squeeze them till their eyes pop. And that's what we got to do right now, right here, right now. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like the confusion. There was something I read today. Somebody posted here. I did a chat with Holly yesterday, and one of the comments, it was a really good comment, and I can relate to it. And I want to read it. I'm not going to say who it was from. They'll know, because I want to kind of address it, because it was actually a pretty good comment. And let's see. Okay, so this goes along with the confusion, and enough is enough. And it's happening across the board with absolutely everything. And it says the mixed messages are also frustrating. Getting property tax notices for one, but wait, there won't be property taxes. File your taxes, but wait, there's no IRS. These type of messages create confusion, a sense of being gaslit, and general lowered levels of trust. There's no time Well, I agree and explain that someone who lives paycheck to paycheck, they definitely live on a timeline, just as a real perspective from out in the collective. And so this is all orchestrated. We've all been pushed into these corners of what do we trust, what do we do, and how are we going to walk this out? And it's like all of this doesn't mean a hill of fucking beans to me. None, zero. This is walls, stuff, crap, and it really doesn't mean anything to me in that aspect. I've got it, I've lost it, I've got it, I've lost it. The thing that I focus on more so than anything is to be able to provide and protect my wife. That's the most important thing to me. And these things come with what I do to provide and protect her. But she also understands the same thing because I've lost it all, I've gained it back. I've lost it all, I've gained it back. And it always hurts her more than it does me because I don't put any real value in stuff. I put it in the time that I spend with her doing things in obtaining this. Those are the memories. Those are the real things. Okay. And my wife and I have been married for 33 years now. And that's maybe a long time to some, but some it may not be very long at all compared to others because I know people that's been married 50 years and they're still alive and kicking, both still love each other. And the thing with that is that you have to find peace, not in any of this, but in yourself and in your family. Because I know that you've gone through this too recently, where you lost your house, the landlord, you had to move, and it was very traumatic all at once. You've got your wife and you've got your circumstances that it was not expected, and you just move on. You just continue on, right? But you're still here. You're still doing what you're doing. I still do what I'm doing. And so I don't dwell upon those things in which I don't have the control over, which I don't have control over the timeline in which the end of this show starts running the credits. I don't, and none of us do. But what I do have is the ability to wake up every day and say, I'm going to give my all, and I'm going to set my intentions for the day. I go and spend time by myself every single day, hours every day. Kelly, is this a fact?
Yeah, for sure.
My wife, about, what was it, 4, 5, 6 years ago, Kelly, she started, was like, where in the hell are you going? What are you doing? Because it wasn't normal. I used to not do that. I would be around the house and I would, spend time by myself. But I actually physically get up and I leave. And I go to the park. I go places to be by myself, to get rid of the outside world, and to figure out who I am and what I mean to this world and what this world means to me, and set my intentions for myself every single day. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. I could choose to get up and get pissed off because of life and the shit and the stuff not happening the way, but I don't. I choose to live in the now and be happy with what I have. And what I have is I have my wife, I have my life, and that's all that matters. That's it. I don't have nobody to call. Like, hey, can you help me? I don't have nobody like that. But they call me Renee's parents, both elderly. Her father's now got dementia, and it's been a hard road, and it's all because of those fucking shots. So I deal with things, and we all do. But the thing is that we're not going to quit. I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to continue to do what I do every single day, and I'm going to continue to show up. But I'm also going to continue to live my life and not regret anything that hasn't happened yet or is going to happen. I'm living for today and right now. Do you know why? Because I may not see tomorrow, and you may not either. So live every minute like that is your last minute. And it doesn't take a place. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take all these things are just things. It's like, it's like what's funny is we have all these Europeans coming to America, and they thought America was like going to be really bad, right? Because that's what they've been lied to for so long about cramped. Their living conditions in their way of doing things is very small, cramped. You know this. And their roads are small, their houses are small, their apartments are small, but their bills aren't. Their bills are fucking huge for what they got. And it's crappy. And now there's a saying, mad as an Englishman. You've heard that before, correct, Lieutenant Colonel?
Yep.
And that doesn't come just because of the bad weather that they experience every day. That becomes their attitude. Really. And it's funny because they come to America, they find out that it was nothing like what they thought. And most of these don't even want to go home. None of them want to go home. And even when they get back home now, they're pissed off at their life because their life sucks because they got to see what it's really like. And the thing that I'm trying to get at is not them, but about you assholes here in the United States that take everything that we have and what we've done for granted. And you bitch and you whine and you moan about it. What the fuck have you done specifically to keep it? This is what's frustrating. Because I listen to all of your whining, bitching, and moaning, and woo-hoo-hoo, and you don't have a fucking clue what the rest of the world actually experiences. And they come over here, and then they see how we live, and then you're a bunch of whiny bitches. And I'm sorry, but it's just, I get fucking tired of listening to the whining by all of you Americans. I love this place. And I work my ass off for this place and for you. And other people around the country do as well. Our servicemen, they bust their ass every day to give you the freedoms and the opportunities and advantages you have. And you want to bitch and moan about what sacrifice have you done? Seriously, what have you done? We have a president that has sacrificed his entire world. He could have gone off into Easy Street. And look what he's put himself through for the savior of not only this country, but the rest of the damn world. So, I don't know about you, Lieutenant Colonel, but I see how things are, and it's frustrating. And I love this place, and I will do everything for this. But people, you need to be bitch slapped. Sorry, but it's the truth. And I'm fucking tired of it. And when you get fucking tired of it, maybe you'll step up and do something instead of just whining about it and sitting behind your little keyboard doing nothing. This ain't reality. What we do is reality so that we can bring it to you. Because with people like myself, Lieutenant Colonel, and other individuals that do things, nothing would happen. Nothing. And I had no idea that this is where it was going to go, but the righteous just rose up in me about what you take for granted. The rest of the world don't even have the opportunity to experience it. And you take it for granted. And it sometimes sickens me. You have so much to be blessed and to be thankful for every single day. And some of the most happy people I know have absolutely fucking nothing. Because their perspective is about family and the spirit. And when that's your focus, you don't need anything to be happy. You don't need anything to have joy because you got everything. It's like, what do you think if they were to EMP the fucking planet? How long do you think society would last?
It wouldn't.
Honestly, they did studies within a week, about half the people would kill the other half of the people within a week. So just imagine, because now what we're saying is if we EMP'd the planet, that means no electronics, nothing works. We're back to freaking old. If you don't know how to hunt, fish, skin, feed, and take care of yourself and your family, because there will be nobody doing it for you. If that was to happen, then you're either going to be a solution or you're going to be the problem. And the problem gets eliminated pretty quick. And that's the thing that people really don't really grasp, is that how close you were, honestly, to losing everything. I wish I could say more, but I can't. And you know about this as well, Lieutenant Colonel. And you can speak to it as well. I don't want to be the only one here on my soapbox, so but it's the fucking truth.
Yeah. No, that was outstanding, Captain. And you nailed so many good points. And the first one that hit me was choice. Every day's a choice, folks. You know that. We know that. I mean, I have my moments. The captain has his moments. Kelly has her moments. But every day's a choice. And last night, case in point. One of my daughters, it's her turn to do the dishes. She's got a ton of math work to do. She's already done a day's homeschooling, and she's plowing well into the night to get some mathematics work done. They're very diligent students. They're extraordinary young ladies. They really are, the two daughters. And she had that look on her face. She just knew she had to do the dishes. She has other work to do. And it's just going to be one of those nights. And I was up to my neck in work as well. I've got a 21-part series that I'm producing on the rebirth of a great nation, and examining what we need to do to create the country we want. And I looked at her face and I said, and I did my silly dad walk. Every dad knows a part of his job is to be the goose that the children can laugh at, right? So I did my silly dad walk around the kitchen. And I said, I'll give you a hand. I've got your back. I've got you covered. And she looked up. She said, no, Dad, please. I know you're busy. I'm never too busy for you. You're more important than this stuff. And I just started doing the dishes, and she prefers to dry. I prefer to wash. And within about 15, 20 minutes, the whole kitchen's done, including the backboard of the stove top's been cleaned. Everything's been done. And we're laughing and we're remembering funny stories from the past. And I'd forgotten most of them, but that 20 minutes was now a fantastic memory. And we remembered a story. And this is how silly it gets, but it was so funny. I bought the kids some dice, coloured dice, and there were these green 5 dice for one of the daughters. And the dog ate one of the dice. And this is some months ago. And that's a moment of sadness, no big deal, but he ate the die. Anyway, we're at the beach a couple of days later, and he decides to relieve himself in the beach, and we're cleaning up.
That's what I was going to say. He's going to come back.
Yeah, it came back again, right? There's the die sitting in a pile of dog feces, and the daughter's sort of like, oh, she's repelled by it. We're laughing, but we're happy because we've got the die back. It depends on how you want to look at it. You've got a die covered in shit, or you've got your die back. Which way do you want to look at it? Anyway. So she sort of picks it up in a handful of sand and takes it down to the water so it'll wash itself. Big wave comes off and washes the die away again. And we're now crying with laughter over this stupid series of events like, oh, tragedy, we lost the die. Success, the die shat, the dog shat the die out. Oh, we've lost it again. And out of nowhere, because of a choice, my daughters and I and Mum, we sat there and we were roaring with laughter over the story silly of this green die, which we'd all forgotten about, right? And it's just choice. It is just choice. And if your priorities are right, you know this. I'm not saying anything you don't know. If your priorities are right, God, family, country, in that order, all that changes sometimes depending on the day, but you get the drift. It's a choice. We could have had that miserable night. She was cranky. She was up till midnight doing her maths, and she was sad because she lost all that time doing the dishes. I'm like, hey, no. It's a choice. And so we chose to have fun and laugh, and all of a sudden the dishes weren't an issue anymore. And the green die story is now, back front of mind in the Bosi family, and we'll just laugh at that every time something happens. And so anyway, it's just choice. It really is. It's the happiest we are as humans is when we feel we've achieved something. When we've had that virtuous glow at the end of the day, knowing we worked our tails off, and we have earned our break. We are crankiest as a species when we know we haven't done enough, and we try to justify it by pointing out flaws in everybody else. But if you've done your day's work and you've got that virtue, you're going, oh man, did I put in today? Boy, did I deliver. And it can be simple as, lifting the spirits of a little girl who's got too much work to do, right? We're happiest when we've done our work. We really are. We're satisfied. We're built to achieve. We're built to pursue. And when we know we've done it, we feel great. And that's what everyone's got to do. Just keep driving forward. How do you keep going? Well, because I keep working my ass off. And at the end of the day, I have no problem sleeping. I can tell you that. I am out. Head hits pillow. I'm gone. Now, the fact I'll be up in 2.5, 3 hours makes no difference. We're there. And so that's how you keep rolling forward. How do you keep going, Bosi? You just keep working. Know who you are, where you're going, and move on. Make a choice. Make a choice. Make a choice. I can be miserable. I used to be miserable. I used to be one of those people that, oh man, he's so lucky. Look at him. He's got this, that, and the other. What an idiot. What do you mean lucky? He just worked his ass off. That's how he got what he wanted. And then you realize it's not luck. You just keep working, keep meeting your needs as a human. And that's what we do. And last point, and you're talking about being in the spirit. When we pray as a family together every night. Every night it's the same routine. Even the dog and the cat comes and joins us. Because when we pray as a family, we're all sort of holding each other's hands, or we're hugging each other and we pray. The energy is quite profound. The dog comes and sits. He can be barking and carrying on. We've got this French bulldog, and let's just say they're high maintenance little beasts. And even he sits at our feet and just sits quietly. The cat used to wander up and join us for prayers too, but she's a cat and she does what she wants. But the theme is always the same. It is nothing but a series of statements of gratitude from all of us to God for the day that's just been. Thank you for, and we list all the great things that have happened. We don't sit there pleading for a win in the lotto. We don't pray for that. We just say thank you for another great day, and all of us go to bed happy. And it's just that's the way we end every day, thanking the Almighty. And so every day's a great day. And if it hasn't been, well, maybe we need to make a better choice with whatever the good Lord decides to grant us the opportunity to do that next day. And so, look, again, I don't want to be on a soapbox either, but maybe people just need to be reminded. I'm sure everybody listening here, Captain, you have an intelligent and well-connected audience, but everyone needs a reminder every so often. Just make a better choice, folks. I wouldn't change a thing. I've had some ups and downs in my life. The captain has, Kelly has, we all have. Moments when, it was hard to go on. But I wouldn't change a thing because I love where I am. Does that mean we're rolling in money? No. I had a 52-cent balance in my bank some time ago. And it was just, hey, shit, I can make more money, but I can't make more time. So let's use the time wisely, and the money that'll sort itself out one way or another. And so, again, I don't mean to lecture, but all of us every so often need to be reminded, gratitude, attitude of gratitude. We're here. And I tell you what, you're right too. I've traveled in some pretty miserable places on the planet where your worst day, your absolute worst day would be a gift from God for them. Whether it's the jungles of Papua New Guinea, the deserts of the Middle East, the jungles it doesn't matter. Oh, the cities of Pakistan, for example. My God. Oh, man. Again, I've got an experience of it, so I've got something to rely upon and go, you know what? We're in great shape. In fact, you know what? We might have to consider doing this. As part of your last year of school in Australia, we might arrange it so students get a government-funded trip to Papua New Guinea to have a look at the Kokoda Track, where Australian soldiers fought in World War II. Now, the Kokoda Track from the north to south is where some brutal fighting took place between the Japanese and the Australians. It's thick jungle, primary jungle, and some of the mountain ridges are literally like razor. There's only enough space for one individual at a time to walk on top, and there's a near vertical drop either side, and there are trees and vines there that'll catch you if you fall. But this is pretty challenging terrain. But just to get them to travel to PNG, walk the Kokoda Track, get flown back and have a perspective and realize, wow, we live in heaven. We live in paradise. It might be a healthy thing to do for the young kids of Australia so they begin to appreciate exactly what they do have. And they have that experience to say, you know what, it might be tough, but I'm happy where we are. Anyway, there you go.
So, that's really actually a very good perspective because, we've been going to Brazil for years and years and years. My wife's father and mom's church that they pastor actually has been putting and setting up churches in Brazil along the Amazon River. And I mean, way the hell up the Amazon River, in the middle of freaking podunk nowhere, that 30 years now. And it's like, even the difference between how it is in the hospital boat that goes up and down the river, it's like a river boat. It ain't like a hospital boat like you think a hospital boat. No. And even where you think that like the cities are at, so to speak, if it's not in like Rio where it's like right on the beach area, things like that, the reality is nowhere what you think it is. And it's like, I've been to those places like there where you're talking about in the 200 miles up the Amazon River in the friggin' middle of nowhere. There's no electricity, no power. They don't have power. When we went there to build and to do stuff, we brought generators and fuel and things of that nature to help build the facilities for them. And the thing is that we had built this church in the middle of nowhere and, outside of a little village area. And then the other village people from other places would come there to the church, right? And some of these things, have you ever seen where you're walking through the jungle and you're having to walk on, like, it's a path, but the path is made out of like planks, and the planks are raised up off the ground, where you're walking on, like, two sets of planks that are on, posts that are built in the ground, where it's like you're not actually on the ground, you're actually having to walk above the ground, and it's like, and it's like through the freaking jungle. And I mean, the jungle. My wife idea of camping is glamping. She could not handle a half a minute in a place like that. She can't even handle going out in the woods in a tent and sweating. She don't mind camping, but it's in a glamping. We got to have a camper, we got to have air conditioner, and we got to have things that are make her life sustainable for that adventure. Now, she don't mind getting out and going out into the woods for the day, but she ain't coming back and not going and getting a shower and sleeping in some air conditioning. You feel me? So this is what I don't think that
A person was detected.
people understand, how difficult people have it and how much we take things for granted. And we all have so much to be thankful for and to be grateful. And that's just what I want people to begin to focus on, to really truly look at those things in which you have to be thankful for each and every day. And the people that are doing things for you and for us and for this country and for the world. And they're getting up doing it every single day. It's important. When you see a soldier, make sure you thank that soldier. You see an ex-serviceman, thank him for his service, because he did something for all of us. And it's important. It really is. Kelly, do you have some questions?
Yes, of course. Okay, this one's for Ricardo. When do you think we'll start seeing the exposure of all this in Australia MSM? The corruption among our political class, the level of migration, and everything else that's happening to our country. I still have family who are so convinced it's all just conspiracy theories and lies. I'm honestly starting to lose hope that they'll ever see the truth. I'm convinced they have TDS. How soon do you think we will see Australia's financial system change? As it recently came to light, NAB has a two-tier financial system, Muslim versus everyone else.
Okay, a couple of questions there. Not everyone's going to get it. Just accept the fact that some won't. That's just the way people are. They get to make a choice. They can either face reality or not. In terms of when's it going to start, it's already well and truly underway. We are seeing the resignations some years ago of chief executives around the world, and in Australia now, we've seen the resignation of political leaders. We are now seeing the resignation of, what was the one that popped up yesterday? What was it? The Brisbane City Council. Brisbane is the capital city of Queensland, the northeast, that large northeast state in Australia. And the Gold Coast Council. Gold Coast is one of the most magnificent beaches in the world, in the southeast corner of Queensland. And he unexpectedly resigned. Now, what this to whoever's asking the question, just dive into these people who are unexpectedly resigning, or they want to spend more time for health and family reasons and things like that, and just track all these individuals. These, without a doubt, these people are corrupt, as guilty as sin, and they've been caught out, and they are now being cleaned out. Now, to be the mayor of Gold Coast Council, you've got to be Masonic filth, and you've got to be pretty dirty to get that job, because it's a plum job for those sorts of people. And remember that most positions of authority in this country are controlled by the Masons. And the numbers, if you haven't heard them, we had a population of about 27 million. Take out 10 million for children, that leaves 17 million. Of the 17 million, 15 million are probably Masons and controlled by Masons. So let me give you an example there. You know, when you call them truckers, we call them truckies. They constantly remind us, we can bring the country to a standstill. You've got to respect us. And then you've got the farmers. We're the farmers. We grow the food. You've got to respect us. You know, these are people, the only ones that think they work for a living. Well, the National Farmers Federation and the Transport Workers Union, TWU, they're filthy, corrupted Masonic organisations that control the farmers, control the truckies. Now, to give you an example, the truckies had the opportunity to bring the country to a standstill during COVID, but they didn't. Why? Because somebody negotiated another $1.75 an hour. So for a $7.75 an hour, the so-called truckie heroes of this nation, which they aren't, they could have brought the country to a standstill, but they didn't. They were paid off through this Masonic link. And all these Masonic links are now being flushed out. These people are being flushed out, and the truth is being revealed about them. Now, do I hate unions? No, I think unions are really great because they need to protect workers. Why? Because there are bad bosses out there and vice versa. But the fact is, this country is run wholly and solely by Masonic filth. Now, your relatives might not get it, ever. There's nothing you can do about it. When is it coming out? It started a long time ago. Just watch the news and actually just start taking note of how many people are rotating through the doors. Watch the newsreaders. There's one particular odious female on one of the commercial channels who was quite belligerent during COVID for anybody who challenged it, including politicians that actually had the temerity to get on the screen and say, look, I think there's something wrong here. And this airhead that knows nothing about reading other than reading the teleprompter in front of her, that same individual is now telling the exact opposite. And we've said this before too. What happens is trusted faces that have been lying to you for decades have to be the same faces that now give you a completely opposite narrative. So if you pay attention, you'll find plenty of evidence, at least for yourself, to keep yourself going, to keep the faith, to understand that things are damn so close. And I know we've said this for a long time. And to be fair, the White House used us a little bit, because if we kept saying it was close and the bad guys thought it was close, it would keep them unstable. That's just the way wars work. You've got to use the assets you got the way you've got to use them. And did they tell us the truth all the time? Absolutely not. Were we played in order to achieve a larger objective? Yes. Welcome to warfare. That's how it works. But right now, we're so close, it's not funny. The names are coming out thick and fast. Another example of, here's where the protection, evidence that the Masonic protection is gone, and hard evidence. We had probably Australia's most influential, one of two most influential radio broadcasters in the country, Alan Jones. He's a pedophile. He was at one of Australia's most elite schools, and he used to groom the boys at that school. And of course, they kept it quiet because they didn't want anybody to know that this guy was a problem. This guy's an out-and-out pedophile. He's a sicko. His name's Alan Jones. Sue me, Alan. I don't give a fuck. We know what you are and who you are. Anyway, he's being charged with all sorts of crimes against men, boys, inappropriately, underage, above age, didn't make any difference. But he was so powerful, and then the Masonic cover protected him for decades. The fact that he's being charged, the fact that the judge has now lifted the suppression order on the details of the charges, and it's now getting into the mainstream media, this is a shock to the Masonic system. How can Alan Jones, this super uber protected sicko pedophile who's been protected by the Masonic filth for decades, untouchable, absolutely untouchable, now is being charged, the facts are coming out, and it's on the mainstream media? This is hard evidence that the Masonic protection is gone. You want evidence that the world's coming to an end here? That's why the Masons are now literally shaking in their boots, because they know there's going to be a knock at the door, and it's not going to be a soft knock. The soft knock is, excuse me, we've got some words with you. The hard knock is the door gets kicked in and there's a 9mm in their face. The Masons, the highest level Masons in this country that ran this joint, their protection is gone, and evidence of all of these high level profiles. And there's some very likable and popular names. I'm not going to mention them, but the fact that they've been incarcerated for various crimes and misdemeanors, it's evidence that their protection is gone too, because you don't get to the top in this country unless you're a Mason. And the fact that these top individuals in also all walks of life, business, politics, the arts, you name it, they're getting arrested and it's being made public, means that the protection is gone. The Masonic protection is gone. I'm going to say it again so you are clear. That is terrifying all the other Masons out there, because that's how this system works. Everybody got away with everything. There were never any consequences to any actions. But now that the big names, the biggest names, are going down, it's not, oh, it's not fair, he's such a nice chap. No. It's a message to the rest of the Masons, your cover's gone, your cover's blown, we're coming for you. And they are literally sitting in their houses of a nighttime, terrified of a knock on the door, because they know they're about to go down. Because all those people above them that are higher level of Masonic protection, if they're going down, the rest are all up for grabs. So that's the best I can describe it in terms of, if you read the tea leaves, you'll see it. If your relatives don't want to go for it, let it go. You won't convince them. Just keep the faith yourself. Know that we're very close and the world's about to come tumbling down on this country, Australia. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm tired of watching these frauds who advance through membership, not through merit, being shown off what they are. They are just absolute frauds. Their wealth, which are proceeds of crime, will be removed from them. They won't be able to transfer funds. Their stock portfolios just evaporate. Their property portfolio is no longer in their name. Everything, every little criminal act they undertook, every time they supported something that was nefarious and they got paid off, all disappearing. And there's nothing they can do. They're not going to advertise it, but they know. And they are literally terrified. As recently as last night, we got some communications about some people, and there are at least 3. I can't give you much more detail than that. 3 that we know of that received visits last night, and they all talk. All the Masons talk. There's the tom-toms, the jungle drums were beating last night, and they all talk, and all of a sudden word got out. The 3 of them went down, and the rest of them are now terrified. They're literally sitting in their homes, physically afraid to leave the house because they know it's coming. Now, that's the best I can do for you, but as far as your family's concerned, don't worry about it. Keep the faith, get yourself ready, keep yourself nice, focus on what's important, don't worry about what's not important. You can make more money, you can't make more time. Lesson I learned a long time ago. Spend that time with your family and get ready for the golden age, which will be brilliant.
Yeah, it's coming full force in time you cannot get back.
Okay, here's another one from Wendy. Thank you, Captain Kyle, Kelly, and team, and Riccardo, for your commitment to helping us navigate our way through this journey. I'd like to ask Riccardo for his understanding of this emergency alert that the government here in Australia is planning to send out on the 27th. There seems to be a lot of fear around it.
Don't be afraid. First of all, why do we need an alert? Honestly, think about it. Why would a country that's allegedly just bubbling along and going fine, why do we need an alert? We don't. This is to remove the shock from the system, point number 1. Okay? When we were children, I remember that we had alerts for different things, and there hasn't been for the longest time because they wanted to lull us into a false sense of security. There's going to be an alert. Don't worry about it. People are saying, turn off your phones, wrap them up in tin foil. Don't respond. There's nothing you can do. You're in the grid whether you like it or not. Okay, just let it happen. Pay attention, and don't do anything dumb. But turning off your phone and ignoring the EBS, just let it happen. It's under control. It's like the best way I can say it is this: in a siege hostage situation, when the lads come in, and I've been on the receiving end of this, when the bang goes off, man, all you want to do is you curl up in a fetal position and hope nothing hits you. It's a shock to the system. It really is. But it's so surgical. It's brilliant. The next thing you know, there's this hail of noise and flashes and bangs and shattered glass. Next thing you know, you're out and being carried out of the whatever it might be, the stronghold, the bus, whatever. And you're being looked after, make sure you're good, and away you go. That's a metaphor for what's going to happen. They need to shock people like the relatives of the previous questioner who are fast asleep. Shock them awake. If you are okay, you have nothing to fear. I'll say that again. If you are not a criminal, you have nothing to fear. Make sure you got cash, make sure you got food, water, fuel, have a barbecue. To get through what you're going to get through. You might not want to go shopping. Now, Australia's not going to be like the US. The US has to go first. It's the center of gravity, folks. It's not like they're more important. Well, they are, but it's the center of gravity. It's going to be simultaneously worldwide. But if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. It is literally as simple as that. So just watch the show, folks. And if the person next to you disappears one day, well, they might not have been the good neighbor you thought they were. But you're okay. You're absolutely okay. When it happens, it'll just happen.
Yeah, and they don't need your help.
Okay, let's see. The next question is from Amelia. Is Trump in the White House aware of all the pain and suffering as well as the drain on natural resources? Water, land grabs through eminent domain, and noise just for data centers and rural communities who don't have the money to fight back. He says one thing and the tech oligarchs are doing another. Tulare, California, I guess that's where this person is from, Tulare, California.
So let me put that into perspective for you, because the funny thing is that they're going into all of these data centers, right? Quantum and the quantum technologies that the quantum initiative has already pushed forward, and that we are going to be the leader of quantum technology, quantum computing, and all the above. You don't need data centers. Don't need them at all. So a lot of those data centers that are being built, manufactured right now are never going to open up for what they were designed to actually do. And those individuals that put all their money into them are going to go bankrupt. So see, your focus is in the wrong area. The enemy is moving in one direction, but reality in the background is moving in another. So what you're doing is you're looking at reality for what it is, what is being shown to you. And this is where it's really, really difficult to be the head, which Trump is the head of the whole thing. He has to play the part of, you guys are doing so good, and everything you're doing, I'm 100% behind you. And he knows they're corrupt as hell and that they're going in the wrong direction. But he is going to use them until they are used up, exposed, and then eliminated. And he's going to show you that directly to the public. And so I don't think you understand that quantum computing and the quantum doesn't use fucking hard drives. They don't. So you don't need a massive data center to become a quantum center of architecture for the technologies of the future. And they're going to happen faster than those buildings can ever be built, finished, and put online. So you can believe what they keep on showing you, or you can get in the closet, get out on your knees, and find out who your spirit truly can talk to get the answers about where we're headed. So,
Okay, here's another one from Dewey Oxburger. Under what circumstances would continuity of government be unwound and or ended?
after,
You want to take this one, Capt?
yeah, you go ahead.
No, you go first, mate. Where you go?
Okay, so whenever the plan of taking out and taking down the corruption and the military has basically pulled back so that the governance can now be done by civil authorities. Because right now it's not. It's actually being controlled by the military. And so the individuals that are the lawmakers are not your lawmakers. They're puppets and they're a part of the show. They were a part of the corporation. None of them have been elected by the actual republic. And the things that are happening are all happening to show you just how the system works, how corrupt it truly is, where they were planning on taking you. And the military has been following the continuity of government, the law of war manual, and the new directives specifically, so that we can now actually eliminate the corrupt corporation and entities that are there, so that we can actually go back to sovereignty and to a nation that is governed by sovereign people. And until then, the military's got the lead. There you go. Go ahead, sir.
Yep. Can I just jump in? I can't remember whether it's John Adams or Benjamin Franklin, two of your great founding fathers. But here's a summary of what they viewed. Government by, for, and of the people can only be established and maintained by an educated and moral people. And that's just a simple fact. Unless you are moral people, unless you are and know right from wrong, because that's what governance is. It's about laws, and laws are about what we agree is right and wrong. So you need to be a moral people. You need to be an educated people, because some of these questions are quite complex. They're not difficult to answer, but you just got to know stuff. You just got to know stuff. It's as simple as that. And we'll put the question back to the questioner. Do you think your country, because I know I've said this publicly in Australia, our country is incapable of self-governance because we are neither sufficiently moral nor are we sufficiently educated. Not being rude, I'm just making a statement of fact. Evidence, no problem. We have full-term abortion. We are one of the leading nations on the planet to have full-term abortion, where a baby could be killed at the point of birth. The US has now exceeded us, apparently, with post-birth abortion. We knew we were heading for that as well. But that was promoted by an Australian called Peter Singer, who was given Australia's highest civil award by the then Prime Minister Julia Gillard, who suggested that post-birth abortion should be a thing for up to the age of 2 years, if it's not in the interest of the parents. Now, you can be moral in every other respect, but if you're fucking killing babies, you're not a moral people. And if you do nothing about it when someone's killing babies, you're not a moral person, even if you disagree. So Australia is insufficiently moral to govern itself. Are we sufficiently educated? Absolutely not. We know nothing about civics. We don't know anything about being adults, let alone specific subjects. So everyone should ask themselves this question: is my country, let's get personal, am I moral enough and educated enough to contribute meaningfully to the governance of my country? And if you're honest, you'd probably say, I've got a bit of work to do. And evidence of that, well, that's why I'm doing a 21-part series on Rebirth of a Great Nation, where I break down the 19 elements of national power, put them through the prism of the 11 elements of the end state that we want for this country, driven by a two-pillar strategy of identity first, great power. That process, and I'm learning a heap while I'm doing this, and I'm shocked at how little I know about the things that we need to decide upon. Let me give you just a tiny example. I'm currently doing episode 9, financial resources as an element of national power. And the idea is to examine it to the point where we can actually design a constitution that gives us the authority to do what we need to do. And then I stumbled upon Tippin's disease. What's Tippin's dilemma? Well, I don't know. What's Tippin's dilemma? Apparently that's going to interfere with this program. So I have a look at it, and Tippin's dilemma is this: is if your country is providing the global reserve currency as the United States does, there is a small problem, because you've got to keep maintaining liquidity globally. Well, what does that mean? It means you're running a current account deficit every day of the bloody week as a nation. What does that mean? Well, that's counterproductive to reshoring manufacturing capacity in your country. Now, if anybody understood what I said, 10 out of 10, well done. But that's what we call a 15th, which is a very small part of something very big of what we need to know to govern our countries. Now, if you don't understand that, don't be ashamed. I didn't know about it till yesterday either, till I read about it. So let me put it back to the people of the planet. You want the military gone? I do. I don't want to live under a military regime for the rest of my life. I did that for a quarter of a century. I'm tired of saluting idiots and following orders I don't like. But it's necessary now until, I hate to be a little bit abrupt here, but like the captain, I'm sick and fucking tired of whining. You want the military gone? So do I. I'm busting my butt 24/7 to educate Australia to understand what we need to do to be worthy of and qualified to receive back from the United States and the Global Alliance, who have risked real blood and real treasure to save our miserable, ungrateful asses, to take it back and say, thank you for that gift you have given us. We will now guard this with our lives. It is a sacred responsibility to govern ourselves. It's a gift from God, but we have to be worthy of it. Unfortunately, we are, as a planet, we have been unworthy of it. We certainly are not moral enough. We are certainly not educated enough. And when we are, then we will have given those in charge to say, look, we know how to run a county effectively. Oh, great. Can you do a region? No. Well, how about you start running a region which might comprise, 5, 6, 7 counties. And then when you get the people, and I mean the people, not an elite, the people, when they are capable of running a region, then you got to learn how to run a state, an entire state, which might comprise a dozen regions. And then you got to provide evidence, and you can run a modern 21st century constitutional republic as a nation state, the nation being the people, the state being the political apparatus that holds it all together. When, and only then, when we have provided evidence that we are capable of governing ourselves, that we are moral enough and we are educated enough, that's when we will get our hand back on the tiller and we can steer our own destiny. Up until that point, it ain't going to happen. And if you don't like it, I hope you're cranky. I hope you get bloody angry and you become more moral and more educated and persuade those around you to become more moral and more educated, so you can accelerate the transition from martial law to civilian rule. And now I'll come full loop. I come back to AustraliaOne. because that's been our remit from the very beginning. People say, oh, you're not a registered party yet. Well, if you look at what we're doing, we are preparing people to govern the nation. Our purpose, method, end state, right? Our intention, and we said this years ago, is to save Australia. That's the purpose. What A1 is doing is to save Australia. Our end state, we're a moral, sovereign, self-reliant, Christian, Western, constitutional republic that is economically powerful, militarily intimidating, politically free, culturally vibrant, and socially cohesive. That's our end state. How are we going to achieve that? Here's the method. And this is why all I've just said is coming back to what we do, how we do it. It's a slow, painful process. Because we could say, like most political organizations, better roads, more jobs, vote for me and I'll make your life great. Well, we're not saying that. We're saying get off your ass and do the work, but we're going to help you. We'll get you started. Our method is this. We are creating a moral political movement which assists every Australian to reach their highest individual potential, so collectively all can participate in the reformation of Australia. So this is an educative process that we started many years ago, and that's why we slowly grind forward every day. We contested elections. We contested 6 elections at the state and federal level in 5 years. We provided evidence, hard evidence, of corrupted elections, corrupted election officials, systemic corruption across the country. We don't contest elections anymore because we don't need to. We know it's a farce. But this is all part of this educative process. And I'm sorry if I'm rattling on a bit, but just like the captain, it gets a bit wearying at times. I don't know how many times I need to say it, and I guess the answer is 1,000,000 times. Just like the Bible says 365 times, apparently, fear not. Well, I'll keep repeating myself until the day I die, and hopefully somebody will pick up the ball and run with it after I'm gone. But until the people are moral enough and educated enough, you're not worthy of self-governance. You don't give a child a rifle. You teach them how to use it. Same thing. So we will get it back, but it's up to us. It is entirely up to us. That's what people don't like. They want to get it back. I want to go back to the old world. Ain't happening. New world's going to be real different, folks. It's the new world is not going to be the old world with the bad guys gone, because we are all bad guys. We have all dropped the ball. We have all failed in our responsibility to govern ourselves as individuals, to govern our families, to govern our communities, our towns, our regions, our states, and our nations. We just haven't. We've been watching football, rigged games by players. I think something like 60% are criminals. And you'll watch the NFL and say, isn't it great? The Green Bay Packers done it again, or whatever the team you follow. Folks, time to grow up. Time to step up. You want governance of your country? It's in your hands.
It's all been an illusion on purpose. And the other part of that is that, how many people even knew about so many things that have happened in just last 5 years, right? About the Constitution, about elections, and about just how the government is supposed to work, even though it hasn't been working. They've been giving us the school of hard knocks on the crash course of learning things that we should have been able to learn in government and civics and things like that in school, that they took away a long time ago intentionally. So you got to still learn it. You got to still understand how it works. And the only way to show you how it's supposed to work is show you how it's not working. And I mean show you. And that's how much it's actually happened over the years on just how messed up it is. And they talk about it over and over and over again. And people are starting to grasp some of the ways and means that things are supposed to actually operate, right? But it's all about self-governance. And if you can't understand how to govern your own self, then you sure as hell can't govern anybody else. All right, Kelly, let's do one more.
Okay. Second. Back that up.
And
Okay.
there was a question that was in there, and it was, is this movie about the Cooney?
Kaluni.
Yes. And yes, it is. And yes, that is the bloodline.
Okay. Question: if Modi and Xi are with, or she, I'm sorry, are with the good side, why are there election steals and oppression killing for speaking up, not for being the same race, religion, etc., still happening in India? Will Alliance clean up India too if India is one of those 72 countries stealing elections? Majority of Indians don't have a clue of geopolitics.
Yes, yes, and yes. And the thing with that is that every single country around the world had black hats control the manipulation of the cabal in every single country around the world. There are leaders and there are white hats that are operating in each of these countries. But we're having to clean up every single one of them. And this is what is happening worldwide.
Yeah.
And nobody is getting left off the table and not getting cleaned up. That's just the way it is. We can't go into a 5D reality of truth and love and a completely different future if we're still carrying any of the baggage from the past. So the baggage is what's being dealt with right now. That's what's happening with all of this crap that's going on around the world. And the thing is that even like with the technologies and all that, the technologies that are coming are going to change people's realities exponentially. But the thing is that these technologies are so powerful that until we actually get to the point where it's safe for them to actually operate in the public domain, they can't operate in the public domain. And this is what's being done right now is to prepare the people for that responsibility, but to also clean up the mess that is entrenched in every country of the world. There's not a country out there that isn't consumed with fuckery, so to speak. That's being dealt with.
Hey, Captain, can I ask one more, please? I found the one I was looking for.
Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. It says, it's from Anna, and she says, "Hi, Kelly. I have a question for you and Captain today. I thought I remembered Captain saying a few years ago that financial relief would come for the people before heavy disclosures. I'm listening to his recent chat with Holly. Captain said financial changes and disclosures would be gradual over the next 6 to 12 months, and that by 12 months, this time next year, we would hardly recognize our worlds. Are we expected some financial relief soon, as it sounds like disclosures are coming? Thank you so much, and so glad that you are feeling better."
Yes, and I don't really know how they're going to, start to come, but it's not going to be all at one time and where it's like, this big windfall, but accumulative, it'll be a great windfall, but not all at one time. The relief is it's going to happen, and it's going to be bits and pieces at first, but it's going to be enough that it allows people some breathability, so to speak, some freedom in moving forward. I'm trying to figure out a really good way of saying it, but it's before we get to the point where the disclosure is at its greatest and at the time in which you were going to need it the most, put it that way, you will be able to be finally have that burden taken off of your back to help deal with the emotional change that's going to come from dealing with that baggage that we're going to have to all deal with to get rid of. And so it's going to be a trek here. It's going to be difficult. I know people are struggling right now and so on and so forth, but just don't give up. Keep fighting, keep figuring out how to get from day to day. And one day you won't have to do that anymore. I just don't know what day that is. And I feel horrible about it. But it's coming. It is absolutely coming. Nothing can stop it. Actually, if you were to really look at the financial situation around the world, it is impossible for it to continue down the path it's on. We would be in complete destruction. That's how fucked up it is, honestly. And so if there wasn't the means of the backstop to replace the corrupted system that's there, we would all be doomed. But that's not the case. But we really, truly would be. That's how bad it really is. And that's how bad it's been being propped up and falsely presented to the world. It's really, really bad. And so if everyone was to get the full weight of exactly how bad it really is, people would be offing themselves already. I mean, that's how really bad it is. So you got to think about all of this stuff that's been going on and all that. It actually makes the crash of 87 and 89 look like preschooler stuff. But that's not what you're seeing actually happening in the world. Really, honestly. They're propping it up on purpose. And I'm talking about the white hats. Are propping it up on purpose so that they can crash it and replace it with the least amount of fallout across the board. Because if the black hats were in control, all of you'd be on the streets and eating absolutely whatever you could find. That's how much they care about this situation. But that's how bad it really is, too.
What about this, Captain? One of the members sent me this from the deck clock, and it said the new alchemy turning paper into gold, and then it was saying paper to silver ratio now, paper to gold ratio now, and then Above it, it says major Chinese banks are permanently ending retail paper gold and silver trading linked to Shanghai Gold Exchange. Key institutions implementing this shutdown include the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Postal Savings Bank of China, and Ping An Bank.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, if you really, really knew how bad the corruption and financial collapse really is, if it wasn't being done with the white hats controlling it and taking care of it in the way that they are, yeah, there's suffering, and yeah, but it's not like it was in 2008, 2009, and people were losing their houses and everything was bad. I mean, it was bad. And we're not talking about just here, every country around the world. They've got it backstopped, and they're bringing it all down in a controlled demo to do the least amount of damage across the board to people. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean shit to you if you are, about to be foreclosed on. That don't mean shit to you, and I understand that. Do what you have to do to get by, but in the future, even if you lost your house, lost your cars, lost your whatever, you will be able to replace them with better than you've ever had before. That is coming. And it will be worth it, because it will actually be something that is of real value and not something that's 7 cents on the dollar. There's a big difference in buying power in that aspect. It's coming, and I feel for you all. I really do. I deal with my set of problems just like you guys are dealing with yours. But I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to give it my all. And I'm going to do it with the best attitude that I have. I'm doing it for you. Doing it for my wife. And I'm doing it for my kids. So, I love you guys. Love you, brother. Love you, Kelly.
Love you
We
guys, and
will
thank
see you
you.
soon.
Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. And I will try to get this deal with Telegram worked out before we come on again. So,
Yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow night at 6 Central
yes.
with Robert Kraft.
All right. Love you guys.
Love
See you
y'all.
later.
Good night.
Thanks all.